Hello, everyone. Welcome to What's Up With Your Principals. I'm Mr. Fee.
And I'm Miss Mosier.
Let us get started.
So why don't we start with next week will be spring break. Our spring break will be April 14th through 21st. Just so you know, that is not just the 1 week, but it's also the Monday after Easter.
Big shout out to Mr. Volts and his teen leadership for Bald for Bucks. They raised close to $20,000. They did a lot of events, the cutting hair, the raffles. My personal favorite is the police versus staff game, which it was a hard-fought game, but the staff was able to come with the W.
Speaking of huge shout out to everyone who was in the school musical. Our students did a really outstanding job. It was basically like a Broadway show. It was very phenomenal and it was very enjoyable. For all who attended, if you didn't make it this year, please make sure you're making it next year because it is a ton of work that goes into that musical. Speaking of the music department, we've got some upcoming events. We have Solo Fest coming up on May 9th and 10th. The middle school spring concert will be on May 8th. The high school spring concert will be on May 15th. I know it's a ways out, but put it on your calendar. We also have the coffee house night on May 22nd.
Parents, please remember, this is kind of when that attendance policy really comes into play. I know there's been letters home, but please remember that at 20 unexcused absences, your student cannot receive higher than a 50. So please make sure you're monitoring that. Also realize that you will be getting letters as we get closer to those for meetings with the principals.
Upcoming dates, just put it on your calendar. Prom will be held the first weekend of May. That'll be on May 3rd, and that'll be at Moonwinks this year. Also, if you have a student in 7th, 8th, or 9th grade, just so everyone knows, we invited 9th grade on the middle school trip this year. So it's no longer a middle school trip. It is the 7th, 8th, 9th grade trip. Usually we go back and forth between Boston and DC. We added a new place into the rotation. This year is New York City. So that will be on May 28th through 30th will be the New York City trip.
Just to let everybody know, a little bit of change here at CRCS. Some of this has remained the same, but some of it is changing. We are going to start a new device policy, which will be elementary, so pre-K through 8th grade, which is elementary and then middle, will be iPads only. That does not mean in all the lower grades that they take them home, but they will have an iPad. 9th, we are calling a transition year. So 9th graders will have both the iPad and the MacBook, and 10th, 11th, and 12th will all have MacBooks or laptops. So just so you know, the transitioning phase of Cuba Rushford, we will be going to iPads to both and then just to laptops to prepare kids for life after college.
So next week we have spring break, and once we get back from spring break, we hit the ground absolutely running. So on this middle school state testing will be right when we come back from spring break. It is actually the end of April. It'll be April 29th and 30th for ELA. It'll be May 6th and 7th for math, and then only 8th grade takes the science test, but this science state test will be on May 13th. Also important upcoming dates is for our senior nights for spring sports. So we have May 5th will be golf. May 6th will be both tennis and track senior night. May 12th is softball, and May 19th is baseball.
Correction, I said after college, I meant after high school. All right, next, big shout out to everybody who participated in Safety Night, which is the police department, the maintenance department, the technology department, and the administration. We all get together at 7 p.m. last week, and we run through all of our tests and make sure all of our protocols and all the correct phone calls, services are all being in contact together. So thank you to everybody who was involved with that. Now, before we end What's Up With Your Principals, you are going to get the latest installment of Words of Wisdom from Miss Mosier.
My words of wisdom are for over spring break. I think that I remember when I was a kid, my favorite thing to do would be to sleep in every single day over spring break, and then I would wake up and it seemed like I wasted half of my spring break. And then when I came back to school, it was impossible to transition back to my routine. So my recommendation after a couple years of figuring it out is to try and keep your routine. So that means still waking up with an alarm at a reasonable hour rather than sleeping in until noon, maybe sleeping in a little bit, but not quite as much as usual. So keep to that routine. That routine is gonna be with all things, not just scheduled, but that's a really big one. So whatever you can do to keep your routine is gonna be helpful in transitioning back after spring break. Enjoy, have a wonderful spring break.